What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your friend the Goose, and the Goose is loose, and I am here with my WandaVision Episode 8 review. It is 4:25 right now, and I have let the episode hit me, and I am ready to talk about it. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button for me as I am on my road to 100 subscribers, and every subscription counts, and I appreciate it. Give me a like if you like this kind of content and you like hearing me talk about the MCU, specifically WandaVision at the moment. And let's get right into it, I suppose. I will say one thing that I want to give a little sidebar on is perspective. I got too excited about this show, I think, and forgot that this is the beginning. WandaVision is the first act of a 3-act story. Act 1 is WandaVision, Act 2 is Spider-Man No Way Home, and Act 3 is the Multiverse of Madness. We are coming to the end of Act 1, and I was kind of throwing out some Act 3 reveals. So I said last week that the show honed in its focus, and it did that even more so this week and made this about Wanda and allowed Agatha to shine. So, with that being said, let's get into it. So right away, we go back to Salem in 1693, and they gave us a shot from Hocus Pocus. They gave us like the feet of the witches, and that reminded me of the shot of the witches like walking lockstep, and it just gave me Hocus Pocus vibes. So Agatha is being punished, and she's brought to a stake and bound and surrounded by her coven, and her mother is the leader of the coven, and they're punishing her for using dark magic. And as they start to like blast her, red magic starts to come up through her neck, and I like wrote with a question mark immediately, Mephisto. What was the dark magic she was messing with? Why is something manifesting red when her power scheme has been purple? So right away I was like, was the dark thing she was messing with a connection to Mephisto, Ralph, her husband? And then she killed everybody. And they were kind of yelling at her that she had no idea how powerful and dangerous she was. And she said, like, I can be good. And her mother says, no, you can't, and goes to kill her. And Agatha destroys everybody and takes the brooch. I feel like that might have some significance. Takes the brooch of the head of the coven. Maybe that's something. Then we come back to Agatha in present day where we left off. And she starts showing off to Wanda. Wanda tries to use her magic, and she's like, not in my house. Didn't you notice the protection spells, the symbols we saw last week? And Agatha just owns the scene. She does spells with her hands really nonchalantly, and it's really a flex, and she's like, who are you? Like, it was like she was offended that Wanda had all these gifts and all this stuff, and she was like, I am so much more powerful than you, it's ridiculous. And the reasoning for Pietro is that Pietro's real body was on another continent with holes in it. So it seems like they're talking about it as a stunt casting. They want us to believe that's what it is, but we didn't see him this episode. I'm holding out hope, but I'll give you my theories at the end. So it seems like she might want to teach Wanda as she starts doing everything. And so eventually what happens is Agnes takes a strand of Wanda's hair, casts a spell that's going to take Wanda back through time. But it seems like Wanda is controlling what manifests. Like, it's like Agatha like put a detector through her memories and was like, grief, bring me to the moments. We start off and we get the explanation for the sitcoms. Her family watched American sitcoms during a time of war as a way of coping, it seemed. And they're just this cute little family, and then boom, we get the moment we've heard of since her debut in Civil War? No, Age of Ultron, of course. About the bomb having them stuck there for days. So that was really sad. And it was like the blast happening and the sitcom still playing on the TV. It was intense. It was really intense. It was like this was as dark as the MCU had been in a while. Um, and then we go to the next moment, which is the testing at Hydra. And Wanda says, I don't want to go back to that. And before they start a test on Wanda, they say, first off, they make her establish that she's a volunteer. And then you hear the one doctor say, what's going to be different? People have died. And they're like, the other doctor's like, no, fucking shut up and just go. And then her and the Mind Stone interact. And the blast happens, and she gets her powers, I assume. And then the moment she was interacting with the stone, the music from the end credits was playing, which was interesting to me. But then when the scientists go back to look at the footage, it goes from the moment before the gem moves to the moment after the moment ends. So again, Wanda's already editing reality. Or at least she always had access to CMBR because of her... I don't know. This segment screamed X-Gene to me. Like, everybody's died, and then she comes along, she has a genetic predisposition to mutation or to whatever happens to her, and I think that'll ultimately become what's known as the X gene, because now I kind of do think this might be going to House of M, but the opposite, where she gives birth to mutants. Then we cut to a really cute scene at Avengers Compound with her and Vision. I was kind of the whole scene going like, we're at Avengers Compound, like, Tony Stark could be there. But he wasn't, alas. It was a scene between Wanda and Vision, seemingly very early in their relationship, where Vision tries to do his best version of being there for Wanda. Basically saying, like, if you want to vent, I'm here. And Wanda kind of shits on him and then is like, geez, I'm sorry, that was harsh. And they have a really tender moment together. And Vision says a really beautiful line where he talks about how he's never loved anything enough to lose. And he says, what is grief if it's not love persevering? And that felt like Wanda that felt like a moment of acceptance, or the moment that will lead to a moment of acceptance for her. That felt like a big moment. And then they have a really cute little Vision laughs at the show, and he gives such a genuine smile, Paul Bettany. And it's very innocent because that's early Vision. He really was like a child at that point. Then we go to Sword. And we see the scene we've been hyped about where she breaks in, but this version shows Hayward in a very endearing light, which confused me. He didn't really do anything wrong here. He was very patient and cordial to Wanda. And then what is with... My friend texted me and was like, this proves that the footage Hayward showed the rest of the people at the compound with him at Sword of Wanda attacking them was either doctored, or the moment we saw from Wanda is not the truth. This is like the unreliable narrator trope to 1,000 with Wanda. I don't know what, like... I'll get into my theories at the end. But then, the thing is also, Hayward planted the idea of resurrection in Wanda's head. She said, I'm not here for that. Because he was like, well, not everybody has the power to bring back a loved one. And she's like, I can't do that. That wasn't even an idea. And he planted it. And then from there, she goes to regular Westview, where her and Vision had signed a lease on a house, or at least a lot. If you look at what she was looking at there, that was in that envelope, I think it was in the envelope. I'd have to imagine so. Um, well, first off, Elizabeth Olsen had a chilling, heartbreaking moment where she put her hand on Vision's head, and they've had this line that they come back to, "I just feel you." And when she tried to feel him, she couldn't feel him, and she accepted that and left. Oh, it was, if she gets nominated for an Emmy, that might be the moment that they show in the little package. Um, and then we see the property deed, and it says to grow old, and oh, it broke my heart. Um, and then Wanda really did it. Wanda gave birth to the Hex out of pure grief and anger and potential manipulation. The first thing I wrote down was the Big Bang. That's what that looked like. That looked like spark of creation, Big Bang. Frankly, it was beautiful. And then you start seeing the stuff of the Hex, so it almost looked like magical fairy dust, but then you could tell it was the Hex forming. And we see it all. Oh, what I didn't talk about before was we also saw regular Westview as Wanda drove through it, and we saw everybody. So Joe, the dude with the mustache, is just Joe. I don't think we saw Dottie. We saw Mrs. Hart. We saw Herb. We saw the delivery guy that everybody thought was somebody, but really he just looked like a depressed-ass delivery man. He looked so sad. Then the last thing we see her create is Vision. And what it looked like to me. So when they went back to Hydra, what was it that Agatha said to her? "Where did you get the big guns?" And then we see the Hydra scene where she's exposed to the Mind Stone. That scene looked like she took all of the power the Mind Stone ever gave her, everything inside of her that was Mind Stone, and manifested it into Vision. So Vision might be like pure Mind Stone, all Mind Stone. Like what Agatha goes on to say is, you are a being who can bring on spontaneous creation. So I think he's alive, but I don't know. And then the ending happens. Agatha goes, she gives her the clap, bursts out. Wanda goes chasing her, and I wrote down Agatha revealed. She's up in the air. She's got the kids on leashes, and it's her full witch costume, and it's glorious. It is beautiful. So Catherine Hahn says, "You have no idea how dangerous you are." She says, "You're supposed to be," what was it exactly? She's like, "You're supposed to be a legend, a myth, somebody who can bring spontaneous creation. That makes you the Scarlet Witch." Which I think means Wanda is like, she made it seem like Wanda is a prophesized figure. Like the prince that was promised kind of a thing. Like, myths have been told of your power. So here we go. I think it's time to talk about my theories. So she says you have chaos magic. They finally called it chaos magic, and then they called her the Scarlet Witch. So what does chaos magic mean? Chaos magic, as I know it, is the magic of Chthon, who is the writer of the Darkhold, the book we think we saw in the dungeon. And Chthon like predates, like, if I have my facts correct, I think he's like billions of years old. He's like a Cthulhu-like figure. And yeah, then we get the end. She says Scarlet Witch, end of episode, and then we get a post-credit scene. And somebody approaches Hayward and says the team is here. We never see the team he was mentioning, unless we are to assume it's the people who arrived with the drone for him to manipulate. But when he said the team is here and Hayward said finally, there was a hint of some music that might even have been fantastic, if you catch my drift. Right when they said team, go back. It felt like a hint of a theme, the way they like to do. I don't know. But then we see it. Vision Reborn. So this is the carcass of real original Vision that they have been working on for 5 years. Except it's white. It's like chrome. No, chrome is more silver. This is like just pure white. Almost diamond. And then they use, when Wanda hit the drone, for some reason, the chaos magic stayed on the drone. It didn't disappear or evaporate or die. So they use that to bring him back to life. He says, get a little power from the source. And he also said, we tested every energy source under the sun. What might that mean? And then it happens. White crystallized Vision comes back to life, and he does not speak. I believe that is because he will not be voiced by Paul Bettany. I believe that is Ultron that was just born, and I believe he will be voiced by James Spader. That's what I think it is. I refuse to believe, because if there's still the big cameo that's been teased that I'm all but sure is Doctor Strange now. But some people on the internet have said, like, is Paul Bettany so cheeky and so trollish that he would say he's wanted to work with this actor his entire life and then it would just be him? And it really is just going to be Vision versus Vision, which, when I say just, I don't mean I wouldn't enjoy that, but it would be funny when we were all like, it's Al Pacino. We had so many ridiculous theories, and it's going back to what I talked about earlier at the beginning of the episode, perspective. I got too crazy, because if Evan Peters really is just a stunt casting, I think that's a little fucked up personally. I think it's beneath them storytelling wise. That's fan service, and I don't like that in the MCU. I already had fan service the movie in Endgame, and I loved it. I don't need more of it. Which is why I still think he's Peter Maximoff from X-Men. So let's see the final notes I had. So after I think the most important scene from all of this might end up being that experimentation scene. That felt very mutant-esque. And like I said, I think they were dancing around the phrase X gene. And she volunteered to be there. But why was the footage warped already? How long has she been warping things, and has it been her? Has she been aware of it? And has there potentially been an outside source manipulating her for a long time? Is that chaos magic her inherent link to Chthon? Or Mephisto? Because my thoughts here now is that Wanda really does. This seems like a monster being born in a way where if they want to turn her into the villain, they can do it now. It would be more well-earned than Daenerys was. But it's strange, like, are we really going to go with she had no idea what she was doing and it exploded in like a Jean Grey kind of way where it breaks? Because to a point also, it seems like Agatha in her own mind thinks she's being heroic. Like, because also I believe part of Chthon's thing is his followers are seeking a worthy successor for Chthon to inhabit, a being powerful enough for Chthon to inhabit. And I believe the prophesized being would be the Scarlet Witch then. I don't know that that's the case in the comics, but I know the thing about Chthon looking for a worthy powerful being is in the comics, so maybe in this lore, that being will have had a name, the Scarlet Witch. And now maybe Agatha wants to bring Chthon back through her, or maybe Chthon has been biding his time, and now that the Infinity Stones are gone, he could pounce. It's very interesting. We didn't see Monica, we got no follow-up on the post-credit scene from last week. When I talked about perspective, what I was basically saying was I got too excited, and this week lowered my expectations. And maybe not lowered them, but changed them. Because like I said, this is part 1 of a 3-act structure. So whatever this is what... Is this the inciting incident at this point? I can't remember what the end of the first act is called. But it's the rupture. It's the breaking point that leads into the meat of the conflict, or the meat of the story, Act 2, leading into the climax, Doctor Strange. And now Doctor Strange has to be that cameo, I think. But like I said, we didn't see anything from Monica and fake Pietro she called him. If he was fake, why is he still walking around? I still don't think he was under Agatha's control in that final scene. And I think my theory all along has been, whoever has been manipulating Wanda, now we know it's Agatha, didn't know what they were dealing with. They didn't know Wanda was a Nexus being. I think now Agatha knows Wanda is a Nexus being, but she didn't before. So she didn't know Wanda could access a multiverse. So when she created fake Pietro, she didn't create a fake... In her mind, Pietro was fake, but Wanda's so powerful, it didn't manifest one, it ripped it from the multiverse. Because with Agatha up in the air doing the whole, you're the Scarlet Witch, I feel like she's going to give an exposition dump at the beginning of the next episode. Like, the Scarlet Witch has been prophesized for da-da-da-da-da, and this is what you're going to do. And then, God, I really don't know how this story wraps up now. But I'm assuming Agatha starts off with a big exposition dump, and then potentially reveals her partner. I still think the rabbit is somebody. I still think maybe Mephisto, I don't know. But yeah, this episode filled in some blanks and set the stage for something dramatic. What team is being sent in with Vision? Is Vision the team? When they call it the team and that music plays, is it fantastic, or am I just grasping at straws? What is the Vision in the Hex? That's the biggest question. What is he? Is he pure Mind Stone? Is he everything that is left of the Mind Stone? It looked like Wanda gave up, like as if saying, the power I have within me as the Scarlet Witch is enough, that if I were to give you all of the Mind Stone, I am still insanely powerful. I kind of think that's what she did there. But how can that hold up outside of the Hex? Does it need to be close to Wanda proximity-wise to function? That's kind of what I'm thinking. A lot of people had been saying maybe Hayward would be Vision or would be Ultron. I think the new Vision is probably Ultron. And I think maybe Hayward is Mephisto. He planted the seed of the resurrection idea. I really think Mephisto is still the other figure in play here. And maybe it's a post-credit scene. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's Nightmare. A lot... How do I put it? Really, the only time that has passed from the last episode to now is what we saw Wanda go through. Because then she runs right back into Westview. So it's only really been however long that took. So, like, not much happened aside from confirmation of a lot of theories to this point. Like, oh, all of the commercials are her trauma and grief. That seems to be correct. It's not the Infinity Stones, it's her key moments of grief. It was kind of a lot of confirmation. And now next week should be crazy. They really, I don't know who is responsible for how wild the hype got for this show. Like, the theories online have been ape shit. And I think it's really just a YouTube community with too much time, too much knowledge, and too many resources. Because I think they're telling a very contained story, and I think it ends that way next week. I think that Vision might be a monster. If that's Vision but Ultron, so that's the thing that Ultron wanted to create. It would be Vision now fulfilling what his original purpose was. When that was a threat, they didn't think they could stop him from destroying the world. And now, I guess we're to believe Hayward has it under control, but there's also not a confirmation it's Ultron yet. That's me speculating. So yeah, overall, this was a good episode. The moments of this could be the episode that wins Elizabeth Olsen her Emmy, because it was very intense, very emotional. But it wasn't as spectacle filled as I thought it might be. I mean, they've been teasing fireworks on set with whoever this dream actor for Paul Bettany is. Teyana Paris was like, I can't wait till you see who the aerospace engineer is. There's been a lot of hype attached to this for big shit. And I don't know that other than Evan Peters, which now you're telling me is just a stunt, I don't know if that's on us for getting too hype or if they've kind of false advertised and aren't giving us as much. I don't know. Give me your guys' thoughts, because I think it's on me for my expectations getting too wild, if I'm being honest. But I'm excited for the finale, and it's almost even it's hard to think of it as a finale, because as much as this is the finale to WandaVision, it's the setup for something else. So I think what happened was the Evan Peters thing made my mind and a lot of YouTubers' minds go wild, and we started to make up the most crazy theories, and they never had that in store. And we are getting a contained story that won't even wrap up, will explode, and the craziness is going to be Doctor Strange. That will become the multiverse, Spider-Verse movie, maybe. I don't know, but regardless, I am excited for the final week. I hope we get to find out that Evan Peters is still from Fox. The two Visions, it's going to be like the two Wolverines. Like, it's going to be heartbreaking. Who's going to win? The fully realized, weaponized, dangerous Vision, or Wanda's heartfelt, closer to the Vision we know Vision? It's going to be heartbreaking. And what is going to happen to the kids now? They're back. It's funny. I wrote down they're not in the end game anymore. Now they're in the long game. And I'm okay with that. And I enjoyed this episode. The performances were great. If you guys watched this whole review, thank you so much. Please give me a like. That means so much to somebody with as little subscribers as me. You would do me a huge favor if you could do that for me. I'm probably going to do one more video between now and the finale, giving you my finale theories, where I'll have a little more time and I'll get to rewatch the episode and really start to nail down what I think is going to happen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, my WandaVision shirt from New Rock Stars. Gotta rep that for any WandaVision reviews. So thank you guys for hanging out. Goose out.